In this podcast episode, I'm going to talk about how I made over $7,000 per month on Etsy. So I know there's a ton of Etsy videos out there, and one of the more popular Etsy content creators is Joshua Mayo, who I've done a couple reaction videos to. And in those reaction videos, mostly I just wanted to point out that he's not giving advice on how to actually be successful on Etsy. He's kind of just pointing out successful Etsy stores and what they're selling. But that is literally just the first step, and that's something that anyone can do, in my opinion. And probably in those videos I didn't give the best ideas of how to actually be successful on Etsy. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my story on Etsy, how I grew it up to over $7,000 in profit every single month, and also talk about how you could do the same, because it is still viable to sell on Etsy and be a successful seller, even though a ton of these markets are actually oversaturated now. So let's get into this one. First off, if you watch a video that points out all these successful stores, and you could basically just start a canvas print store or a t-shirt store and be successful, that is going to be a 1 in 1,000 chance. If you just open up an Etsy store, add products like that, there's thousands, tens of thousands, even maybe even hundreds of thousands now of different stores that have tried that, and yours is not going to stick out from the rest. And this is going to be the last time I'll bring up Joshua Mayo, but in my opinion, his video advice on Etsy is very simple and basic. I mean, anyone could go on Etsy and realize that selling canvases for $200, and you can see ones that have thousands of sales, anyone knows that that's a viable business. You could do the same with t-shirts, jewelry, anything you could find on there, but it doesn't really explain how those stores got to where they are. So to start off my story on Etsy, I had the idea back in 2017 maybe to start a print-on-demand store for t-shirts and hats and sweatshirts. So those three items on print-on-demand stores are going to have some pretty high margins actually. I was using Printful, which I still recommend now. If you want to check out Printful, I do have an affiliate link down below. It will make it really easy to sign up and get started with them and sync your store directly to Etsy. But what I quickly found out is it was hard to stand out and make sales. So the first thing I did was focus on my designs. Think of designs that people were going to be searching for on Etsy and underrepresented on Etsy. So if you had a t-shirt design idea, just search on Etsy. If it was 50 or less results, could be a good shirt niche. Or even if there was no results and you think this is something that people might want, that's going to be something to go with. If you type in a canvas print with a bowl on it, you're going to get thousands of results, and nothing's going to make yours stand out from the rest. So make sure you're selling something that's going to stand out from the rest, and that's not going to have a ton of competition. If there is some competition, a good way to get your product shown is with SEO. So what I did was make sure I used every single character in the title line, and I used every single tag available to me. And Etsy also will push your ads on Google.com completely free. I didn't spend a cent on marketing. It did take me about 9 months to actually make more than $1,000 in profit per month with a t-shirt, sweatshirt, and hat store. And I was doing this while I had a full-time job. I think I only had about 100 designs. If I was going to do it again, I would have pumped out a ton of designs. By the 9-month mark, I would have at least 1,000 different designs up there. Hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts. And with Printful, different from Amazon, if you do sell on Amazon or something like Redbubble, you'll know the margins on a shirt are going to be like $4 or $5. Working with Printful and Etsy, I was actually getting my shirts printed and shipped out for $12, and I was selling them for $19.99 plus $5 shipping. So I was keeping $13 in profit, and Etsy keeps a pretty small percent margin of your sales, honestly. So I think I was making about $10 on every shirt sale, which was pretty good, more than double what you can make on Redbubble or Amazon right now. But Etsy is running a business. They do all the stuff on the back end for returns, customer service, all that. All you have to worry about with them is making good designs. With Etsy, you have to worry about the customers. They'll come directly to you with questions about shipping and all that. So that's something you have to be aware of as well. But back to my 9-month mark, finally made $1,000 in profit. Over the next 3-4 months, I bumped it up to $1,500 in profit. And then randomly, I was going through Etsy looking for design ideas. I found a print store, and they were essentially selling prints, not canvas prints. They were printed on kind of a matte paper, but it kind of was I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't super thick, but it was like sturdy paper, and it was a matte print, and I didn't call them posters. I called them a print, and I saw one store doing it. Literally was looking around. This was 2018 for other stores selling prints, and specifically in the sports and music and kind of like overall just culture niche is what they were focusing on, and they were really the only ones doing it, and they were printing out sales. So I decided to start this kind of store myself, and in the first month I did over $3,000 in profit. I think I only had 50, 60 designs, and then I bumped it up to 100 over the next few months. But they were selling like hotcakes, and the margins were insane. On Printful back in the day, you could get these made and shipped for $17, and that was for the big size, the 36-inch by 24-inch. And I was selling them for $40 plus $5 shipping. So every sale I was making $28 in profit, which was really good. And this store was extremely underrepresented on Etsy. So I dove right in, hit it hard, built the entire thing in a day, and had my products up there already. Then I just focused on getting as many designs out as I could. So literally in the second month overall on Etsy, I was making over $7,000 in profit per month. 1,500 of it was coming from the apparel store that I explained in the beginning, and the rest of it, close to $6,000 was from the print store, and it was going extremely well. But the thing about Etsy that you need to know, every seller on Etsy needs to know, is they are very quick to suspend your account and never let you sell on Etsy again. And I learned that the hard way. I had 2 copyright strikes and my store got suspended, and I saw it and I was like, oh man, this is not good. Reached out to them thinking, hey, it's a warning, we're going to suspend your store for a week. Nope, they said my store was suspended indefinitely and basically a lifetime ban from Etsy. And they have my social security number, so you can't sign up for an account selling without your social security number. So essentially I'm banned from Etsy. And the short story is that 2 of my designs that I didn't think should have been copyrighted got flagged and got me banned. On my apparel store, like 20-something% of my actual income on Etsy. The actual print store that was just starting, it had only been open for maybe 3 months, that was making close to $6,000 in profit, that didn't have any copyright strikes. It was the other store. And the second design that got me the ultimate ban was a hat that had the number 7 on it. I saw a bunch of star athletes wearing this hat, and I decided, hey, I can put a 7 on a hat. There's no way that someone has copyrighted the number 7 with literally no other words or designs. And apparently New Era had the number 7 copyrighted on a hat. Got my account and me permanently banned from the platform. So I guess up to this point, I've only given you guys a couple tips how to start your store and be successful at it. The next tips I'm going to go into here are going to be extremely pivotal. And the first one that I'm going to talk about here is trying to find those underserved niches. So my first store, the apparel store, I had to grind just to make $1,000 in profit per month. Now that's not nothing. $1,000 a month is pretty good for a side hustle. But when you're making almost $6,000 per month in the first 3 months here, that is a really good store and a really good business that you don't want to lose. But to do that, I had to do some research. I was pretty lucky, fell into this store and did my quick research there, and ultimately decided to pull the trigger really fast and jump on that business idea. If you go on Etsy and find some ideas like this, you could make a really successful store on an underserved niche. So basically what I would do to jump into the computer here for the first time to find some of these underserved niches is you could go on Etsy and just search for things and see, hey, this is a cool thing that not many people are selling, and do it that way. Or you could come over here to Printful, which I'll link down below. You could see how many different print-on-demand products they actually have. And print-on-demand is the way to go, in my opinion. You don't have to handle any inventory. You could look for things that maybe not that popular on Etsy and start a store in that niche. And hey, if that doesn't work, just name your store a pretty generic name that can cover any niche essentially, and then try out a bunch of different products. And if they don't work, then just delete them and add new products and keep trying different print-on-demand products and see you know, if your store takes off like my print store did. So the first thing off the bat that I see here is going to be hats. You have a bucket hat, you know. Maybe bucket hats are completely underserved on Etsy. Now, these are pretty expensive, $19.95 here, plus you're going to have to pay to ship it, and shipping is $3.99. So this idea might not work, but if you could sell these for $35, $40, which is probably too much for a bucket hat, this could be a cool product idea for Etsy that may be severely underserved. But there is a ton of stuff that you can find on Printful to sell print-on-demand products. And right here you can do browse new products. So these are new ones that popped up. Probably going to be more likely that they're not being sold on Etsy. These kind of mugs are super popular right now. They're $20 on here. I think, you know, the Stanley brand, and what are the other brands? Yeti, I think, is another one. Pretty sure new a mug like this on one of those brands would be at least $40, maybe even more. So that could be an option, you know, but there's all kind of things they have on here. If you just click on home and living, a ton of wall art, including flags, metal prints. There's holiday decorations, blankets, candles, aprons, towels, pet products. There's a ton of things. Beauty, I don't even know what this is. You could sell your own branded hand and body wash and lotion, things like that. It's just worth trying these out. If you're familiar with drop shipping, all the successful drop shippers say they had 20, 50 failed drop shipping stores before they found that one that actually hit. And that's the same thing you have to do with print on demand. Don't just use Printful, use a bunch of other sites. They might have super niche print on demand products that you can choose from and start an Etsy store with. Alright, to wrap this one up, if I was starting an Etsy store now, I would try to find an underserved niche on there. Use the SEO tactics I talked about. Upload a ton of designs to see what hits, and just keep trying different products that are print on demand products, because that's going to be the easiest and least headache to start and run. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, check out some of the other videos on the channel. I have a lot of reaction videos. Here at the end, I'll have 2 of my reaction videos up from Joshua Mayo videos if you want to check those out, because I did talk about him a lot in this video, and I'm not trying to hate. He's killing it with his business of YouTube, but I just like to give some more real and actionable advice in my videos, and that's why I like reacting to their videos, because a lot of these business YouTubers have really good base ideas, but no one really builds on top of them and talks about from their own actual experience, and that's what I try to bring here on this channel. So hopefully you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you in another one.